Welcome to the Midwest Happy Hour. We're your hosts, Lacey and Hayley.
Join us for a drink and a chat with a new Midwest small town perspective on topics that will keep you learning, laughing, and growing.
So let's get into it. Cheers! Okay.
I don't know what it sounds like. You know what it sounds like.
Are we ready to go?
I'm ready.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome.
Howdy.
To another sweet episode of
This one will be a good one.
Happy Hour. Yes, I'm freaking excited. I love talking to people that know stuff.
Right.
Which is everybody besides me.
That's false. That's not true.
I know.
But we have my friend Wes Homoya.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is my name.
Yep.
Hi,
You got it.
Wes. Another Wes. This is 2 Wes's in a
I
row. Oh my God. We're going to put out not a Twitter poll. What are we on? Instagram poll. Which Wes is cooler?
Right. Oh my gosh, yes.
Pressure's on now.
Yeah.
It definitely is. But I've known Wes for almost 10 years because I've been with Flint for almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years in like August.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's weird.
Yeah, and you've been best friends with Flint for a very long time.
That's
Since
right.
when?
Well, since we met in Brownsburg, Indiana.
Right. When was that? When did he live in Indiana?
well.
You guys were wee ones?
He was, let's see, he was like 19. I was like 20, something like that.
Oh,
Were you guys
scandalous.
working together? Is that how you met?
Yeah, the RIP Marsh supermarkets.
What is that?
No longer.
It sounds like roll. Like, did Shrek run? It was like that.
It was not an actual swamp grocery store located in a swamp. No, that was just, I think that was the family name. Yeah, it was their
Nice.
last name. So, anyways, yeah, that was like my first job, one of my first jobs, and he was working there too, and we had
You guys
mutual
were
friends, and
Yep.
we hit it off.
You bag boys.
We were meant to. Well, I was a bagger. Well, as I called it, a spatial relationships technician. But Flint was working in produce. I think.
Oh,
I think He was in the
cool.
produce section. But yeah,
That's fun.
yeah. It was good
Grocery
times.
store times are good times.
Oh, yeah.
Coincidentally, Wes, that was on previously, I worked at a grocery store with him, so full circle.
There you go.
Right. How weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
But before we go, I guess we don't have to like keep talking because we haven't had a drink yet, which is weird. We've never not had a drink before we started an episode.
Whoa.
And we're already
I'm
giggly.
parched.
Yeah.
I'm drying a
Right.
popcorn
So
fart rolling
let's
right
dive
now.
into like what we have, which is Ash and Elm, and I'll let you explain what Ash and Elm is, Wes.
Be happy to. Thank you. Yes. I kind of got out of control here, as you can see.
We have 10
with the
cans in front of
selection.
us.
I couldn't help myself. But
One of each. Oh
yeah.
my God, they look so good.
Yeah. So Ash and Elm Cider's from Indianapolis, as am I. It's my brother and his wife's business, a little family business. Been open about 7 years now.
Oh, wow.
Growing and growing every year. So
Yeah.
check it out. You can get it in most states online through the website.
Oh.
You can order it and get it shipped directly to your door. But as far as bars, restaurants, liquor stores, it's all throughout Indiana, especially in Indy. But,
And we do have a lot of listeners in Indiana.
oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
It's a cider company, too.
Yes.
Like,
So right. So it's not beer
Yeah.
or wine. It's cider, which is basically just fermented apple juice, and then you can do different styles depending on what other ingredients you add. Everything is using all natural ingredients, so there's nothing artificial in there. It's all gluten free. Anyways, not to make this a whole infomercial.
No, please.
I have my
Because it's
elevator
awesome.
pitch that I've done hundreds of times clearly.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but it's I think it's really good. We all think it's really good, and brought a whole bunch of styles. We have a restaurant also in Indianapolis that you can check out. But, anyway, so there's like tons of different kinds. There's ranging from drier or less sweet styles to more sweeter styles.
Yeah, and I see everything only has like 5 ingredients or whatever.
That's
Like
right.
everything's like apple juice,
That's
blueberries, cane sugar, lavender.
You
And
can
then other-
pronounce all the ingredients and
Yeah.
you know what they are.
So when they decided to do this, why cider?
So he had been homebrewing for years and thought he would want to open up a brewery, but then about when the time came that they thought they were ready to do something like that, the market was pretty saturated with breweries, and also they had just taken a trip to Europe, to the UK, and they got to try like really nice, high quality ciders over there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it wasn't just like the big sugar bomb,
Right.
Or malt beverage.
Yes,
apple flavors,
everything is effing
things.
malt or IPAs.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Smirnoff Ice and Zima.
Angry Orchard.
Angry Orchard.
I drank that
So-
and gained, I swear to God, 200 pounds
Yeah.
in 30 days.
Yeah.
From drinking Angry Orchards. It was like, I don't feel good. Oh, well, I've had 600 grams of sugar in 2 hours.
That might be why.
Yeah.
So depending on the style, they're usually all about 6.5% ABV, and then some are semi-sweet to sweet, and some are dry to totally dry. So that one you're holding right now, Fleeting Youth, that's one of our best sellers. That's a raspberry lemon. That is one of our sweeter ones. But even so, a can of that has like less than half a can of soda of sugar.
Oh, wow.
So,
Sweet.
That's awesome.
I'm into it. I called dibs on this one.
Okay.
Raspberry and lemon cider.
Yeah. And then this one is strawberry rhubarb.
Yum.
yeah.
I had
Then we
some
have,
strawberry
this one
rhubarb.
looks like it came out during Christmas time.
That's right.
Like,
That's
when
right.
they're-
That's a nice thing about cider is they do age well. They don't really change much. It's not like barrel
Right.
like aging, like barrel
Right.
aging or whatever, cellar aging, I should say.
Yeah, they probably
But
don't expire.
but as long as you keep them out of the sun and keep them relatively cool, they can last for months just fine. It's not like beer with hops; they can really degrade pretty quickly.
Don't leave your ciders in the sun, kids. You might
That's
grow an apple tree.
There's like an apricot honeysuckle that is cute.
Yeah, that's a special one to me because me and a team of our crew, we went and foraged the honeysuckle blossoms locally for that one.
Shut
So
the front
some of the
door.
ones I get to
Right,
lend
that's
a hand
awesome.
with the foraging of the ingredients, which is
Dude,
German
yes.
style. What is this?
that was for Oktoberfest. Yeah,
Oh.
apple wine, German
Oh.
style apple wine. Yeah.
Okay. And then-
Headlong's one of my favorites. That's a dry hopped, citra hopped one.
Yeah, I want a
If
dry
you don't
one.
like sweet, that one's
Oh.
good.
Yeah.
That one says dry cider,
That
literally.
one, that's another one that's not
Which
as
one
sweet.
do you want?
I'll let you guys take first dibs.
There's a
whatever you
margarita
want.
Dude,
one.
I know that one I'm excited about too.
Blueberry lavender.
Oh,
and then,
And then they're like cider of the month.
caramelized apple.
Yum.
Like a caramel apple, exactly. Yeah, margarita. That one's a really nice one.
Freaking A.
We do a
Okay, which one should I do? I want a dry one.
Do one that says dry.
Well, okay. Well, do
I
you
mean,
want the headlong one? Is that your favorite?
There's plenty for everybody to have a couple. No, take whatever you want. I got
Okay,
access.
I kind
to
of
these
want this one
anytime,
because I
so.
like the color and the.
Yeah.
Headlong.
I would love for you
Should we
to try that,
compare
because that's one of my
ingredients?
favorites.
This one's apple juice, raspberries, cane sugar, and lemons, and then the like malic acid
My
and sulfates.
apple juice, cane sugar, hops.
Oh, nice. Malic acid is just that's your
I can't read.
keeping it.
It's too small for me.
What is the word I'm looking? Is it like it's not really preservative, maybe, but
What are you saying?
like the malic acid and
Well, that's
the
just
sulfites.
to add a little extra tart, and then sulfites is just to make sure there aren't any impurities.
Ah, interesting,
Yeah,
interesting.
keep it clean.
All right, well, I'm gonna go with Fleeting Youth.
Bacteria.
I'm gonna try that one.
What am I gonna have? I think I'll do the margarita, unless one of you guys had your eyes on that one.
No, you're fine.
No. If you don't care, we could take little sips. Ooh, this is delicious. Oh my gosh.
Holy shit, it's so good.
I love hops. This is.
I don't really like hops.
Try it.
You're gonna make me try it anyways, though.
Let's see how it goes. We usually recommend that for people that are beer drinkers and they're like, I don't drink cider. And we're like, well, try this one.
Yeah,
So-
that's
It's
like
fine.
Kind of a
good.
gateway cider.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You're not a beer like a.
I don't really drink a
actual
lot of
If
beer.
you'd like to try that one, I'm happy to let you.
Yeah.
I don't have any cooties right now. I don't know about you two.
This
Nope.
could be the podcast that started COVID if it was before 2020, but we
Yeah.
didn't do it.
It wasn't us.
Mm-mm.
It's kind of sorry.
Oh, freaking yum.
Like that one?
Dude.
Oh, that is yummy.
Yeah, these are so good.
Cheers.
Cheers to Ash and
cheers.
Elm.
Aw, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
you for bringing them.
My
Yeah.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Freaking
Yummy.
A.
Yeah, I could sip on that.
Yeah, do they need anybody to come work for them or something? Or-
well,
Like-
always. We're continuing to grow, and we're always hiring people in the restaurant and for events and things like that. Pretty much.
Yeah, I follow the Ash and Elm social, and I see like you guys posting like the food or whatever that's there, and it looks I don't know the exact word for it. It's not like you're just typical.
Delicious?
Yeah, it looks
Appetizing.
Yeah,
like
Hopefully, a
horrible, nasty, weird.
No, it looks fantastic. But it's not like your typical like dishes.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Love
They're
it.
a little unique.
Yeah, sweet. That's always good. I'm kind of pissed off that I didn't know. Like, we went to a Colts game or the day after Christmas.
Okay.
Or we went to a Colts Chargers game. Patrick's Chargers fan. So we went over to Indianapolis. And I'm like, peeved. I should have went here.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, now you know.
Now I have to go again.
You're always welcome.
Yes, very good.
It sure is.
But besides Ash and Elm, what else are you into?
Well, so I find
One giant
Wesley to be
infomercial.
one of the most interesting people I've ever met in my life for multiple reasons.
I don't know that many people.
Like,
The bar is
I
low.
enjoy you because you really do like beat to your own drum. Like,
This is
you aren't like a mainstream person. Like, you just do what you want to
Normal,
do.
not
Like,
a normal.
Yeah, I don't know where this is going.
right, no, like, so you're really, not that people aren't into birds, but you're like really into birds. Like, that's part of your job.
It's true. That's
Like,
how. That's most people when
how
they
much
think
into
of me.
birds?
They're like, yeah, bird guy. What's
bird
the
man.
bird guy? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just title this episode Birdman.
Yeah. The Return
I
of
think
the
that was the
Birdman.
book or something already, wasn't it?
Oh, that movie.
Yeah, with
Michael Keaton.
Yes.
Oh, I always
was
think
an
like the
interesting
bird
movie.
cage, but that's not the same.
That's a little slightly different film.
I don't know what movie you guys are talking about.
Dude, it's a good one. It's not about birds really, but I mean,
No.
yeah.
No, but okay, so your parents, do you feel like you got like kind of like your environmentalist side of you from your parents? Because aren't
Absolutely.
they,
Yeah.
what do they do again? Or what did they do?
Yeah, so my father, they're both retired now, but my father was the state botanist for Indiana for almost 40 years.
Now
So-
that's something I could get into.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Sweet.
Didn't
Yeah.
he just win an award? Maybe it was a couple of years
He
ago.
did receive the Sagamore of the Wabash Award, which is the highest citizen award you can get in the state.
Dude.
Yeah, it's
Gotta
pretty
meet this
legit.
guy.
Yeah, he's good. He's
Love
obviously
it.
I'm biased, but yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but he's pretty well renowned in the botanical world.
That's awesome.
Regionally, nationally, and worldwide for knowing about plants of the Midwest, specifically Indiana and Illinois, and also specifically orchids.
Oh,
So
wow,
he
that's
wrote
very interesting.
The Orchids
Right.
of Indiana Field Guide.
Does
That was
he
his
write a
first
book?
book,
Yeah.
and he's written several books since or co-authored.
Oh,
So,
Sweet.
and so yeah, so grew up, going outdoors quite a bit due to that, but also because my mother was is a big nature lover as well. She's a nurse, a retired nurse, but we've all three of us have spent countless hours out in the field, out in
so
nature.
like, did botany include like edible wildflower stuff, or was he more just into like, this is this and this is that, and bees or whatever go over here, and that's milkweed for monarch butterflies?
That's right. That's
You know,
right.
it's about all we know.
Hey, a lot of people might not know milkweed, so that's good.
And like, I almost told Grant today, he picked up a dandelion out of the yard, and I was gonna be like, you can eat it, but I didn't want to start that. Like him just like eating all your like after Coda takes a huge pee on one or something,
Right.
and then like, this
Right.
one tastes weird, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, you want to be careful that you know what you're foraging and where. Be mindful of where you're foraging. You don't want to do
Yeah.
it like in ditches or where chemicals might have spilled or things
Right.
like that,
Yeah.
or dogs might have urinated.
Or people.
Yeah, but
Yes, or people.
well, that can happen too. So, anyways, but no, he wasn't really super into the like edible medicinal foraging kind of stuff. So I've gotten into that more recently on my own in the last 5 or 10 years. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's really
for whatever
interesting.
Reason.
Specifically, like plants, like for medicine. It's like we were almost brainwashed, like all of our population brainwashed into thinking that you have to go to the doctor and they have to prescribe you something in order to heal whatever you have going on. But like plants, dude, they like.
Well, I don't think plants could have fixed that dude's trench foot like you were talking about. Like there are some things.
Some things that, thank goodness that we have doctors and we have medicine
Yes.
for. 1,000%. I'm not going to write that off completely.
Okay,
However,
all right, just
I'm
making
just
sure.
saying, like, plants, and herbs, like, they just
I'm
heal.
into it. I'm really into it.
Same.
Yeah,
Same.
for sure. My mom even made all these kinds of like weird like salves and stuff. And there's just these like jars in the kitchen that have like oils and like little plant things in them. I asked my dad, I was like, what are you going to do with those? He goes, I don't know. I'm scared of them.
Oh.
Like they're like some kind of experiment or something, you know, like
Right.
some kind of whatever magic little like potion or something. But like, yeah, my mom was getting super into like making her own things out of you know, plants or whatever, you know, herbs. And that's my favorite thing right now is like herbs. About to start an herb garden.
Yeah.
Just
Awesome.
whip them up, get them in there, sprinkle them in my foods.
Yeah.
Yeah, branching out.
As much as possible. Yeah, it's branching out.
Yep.
Get it?
Yep.
As much as possible, if you can be self-sufficient with both where you're getting your food, but also, you know,
Yeah.
treating yourself.
And
If you can't, you know, and obviously, you know, some cases require modern medicine.
I know,
For sure.
yes.
But yeah, exactly.
But so your dad was more into just like plant
Yes.
identifications and like
and rare plants, rare plant communities, you know, endangered species and threatened habitats, things like that.
Yeah.
Making sure that they got identified and protected.
yeah.
Is this true that Illinois has no native plants?
That is, I don't
I
know.
heard
I
that
don't know how to
sometime,
begin
like-
to unpack that stuff.
Yeah, I mean-
it absolutely does.
Oh, where did I hear that from?
I mean,
feel like I heard that from someone.
prairie is like, this is the prairie that we're on, like prairie grass and stuff. I mean,
Well, it's funny you mentioned prairie because perhaps that's maybe where this was coming from because we've lost over 99.9% of our native prairie in Indiana and in Illinois both.
Okay, that might
So
have been.
perhaps that's what they were referencing. But I mean, you can walk outside in 2 seconds. I can find you a native plant. But
right.
Please do.
but there are a lot of introduced plants and
Right.
things like that
Invasive.
too.
I didn't know I
Sure.
bought a Spanish or Swedish ivy. No, maybe it was Spanish ivy or whatever. But I was watching some like show and they were like, it was a home show or whatever. And they're like, yeah, we have to tear this ivy off the house because it's like real invasive and people just like get it and think it's fun.
English
and then they
ivy,
like, English ivy, that's right. And then they throw it out or whatever and it starts growing up people's houses and like destroying everything. And I was like, you just stay over there on my mantle, you little plant. Like I've got one, he's looking pretty good too. But I didn't know. I was like, ooh, that would like I would just like toss it out and be like I'm done with you or whatever and it would die maybe and then I would end up getting like taken over by English ivy. I'd be like I did this to myself. No. I didn't know like it could be so easy to just or some people say like plant clover on your lawn or even different things and it's like don't do this because you will F up your neighbor's lawn because it will creep over and like destroy everything.
Right. Why was that a movement at one point? Like plant clover instead of grass?
I mean, it's easier to maintain. It's good for bees.
Yeah.
And there are some things that pollinate it and, you know, derive some benefit out of it. And yeah, in theory, eventually you won't have to mow as often and some of these sorts of things, or put as many chemicals on your lawn or that sort of thing. I mean, it's probably better overall than just regular old, bluegrass or you know, lawn grasses. But
Right.
yeah, there are other things you can do too, for sure. Like native grasses and sedges.
I don't know why we're talking about
Xeriscaping.
Yes.
We're going off
Talking
the
about plants
rails
to the
here.
bird guy.
You're stretching the limits.
I
of
know. So your dad's like the plant
ecological
guy.
knowledge.
And so when you going out and like hanging out outdoors and stuff, did that make you go like, you know what's really cool? Birds.
Yeah, birds. I picked that up when I was like 5 years old when going out on these hikes with mom and dad and friends and family. And I don't know, birds for most people are the most noticeable of all of our taxa. You know, whether it's a lot of mammals are just active at night, and reptiles, amphibians are hiding under the water half the time, and
all you get around here is
fish,
squirrels and rabbits and deer
there's not as
occasionally
many,
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, there's only a handful of species compared to with birds. You can pretty easily see. If on a given day you go out and you can see easily a couple dozen species, and a lot of times they're singing and flying around. And so, anyway, so that was what kind of caught my eye first, I suppose. But,
Yeah.
You were like, birds, man.
Yeah.
They're freaking cool. You ever get in need to, like, put a little food in your hand? You're like, come here, guy. Let me inspect you a little better.
I have done that before.
Yes.
And yeah. I mean, it takes a bird that really, certain species of birds will do it, some won't. But yeah, it takes a bird that has been habituated a little bit, has learned that it's safe and it's a good food source. But yeah,
because you're not
Can be done.
out blasting them.
right, yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
or just shooting in general.
Right.
Like,
So when did you take this interest in birds and turn it into like a career? Like when did you start actually doing bird stuff?
birding?
It wasn't until
since I met you.
Yeah. So I mean, I got interested in birds when I was little, and then that only lasted a couple of years because then I got into sports, and then that took over my life through college years, and then it wasn't until after. I did a year of college, and then I did a couple party years, which is when I met Flint. And then,
Sounds like those are some good years for Flint as well.
So, I was finding myself.
Yeah. Yep.
And
So
too,
I would say
still.
Flint was as
yeah,
well.
for sure. I became a certified massage therapist, and I got married, and then I went over to Hong Kong for a year and volunteered in an orphanage. And then it was oddly enough there
He's
where
the
I
most
got back.
interesting person. I told you this. He's literally done it all.
And then I turned 22.
Well, yeah, no, I got married when I was 22, and then we went to Hong Kong like a year later, and then did that, and then it was actually I worked 6 days a week, and on my days off, my one day off a week, I'd go out into nature somewhere and
In Hong
explore.
Kong?
Yeah, there are rural areas of Hong Kong, believe it or
Cool.
not, offshore islands, and there's some little, rice fields and wetlands and things like that. You can actually get out a little bit
Cool birds.
outside of the city. Yeah, and so that's where I got back into it. And I was like, this is what I want to get back into and return to my first love, as it were.
Yeah.
So I did that, and when I got back, I decided I wanted to go to Purdue to finish my degree. And that's what I did, and then
That's
ever
prestigious.
since, yeah, the Ivy League of the Big Ten.
Yeah, dude.
I remember, so I did an internship out in, on Purdue's campus. So I stayed with someone who I was doing an internship with, and we were on Purdue's campus, and I was like, I'm going to do my last year of college at Purdue. Like, this is fantastic. Obviously, that didn't happen because it didn't make sense to
Just do 1 year. Yeah, no.
But then I met Flint right before school started, so thank goodness I didn't move.
Oh, your
full-time.
last year, yeah, I guess. You were just a pup.
Yeah.
Just a little thing working at B-dubs.
Yeah. Yeah, sure thing.
Oh, that's the best.
Go back and do your master's there.
Yeah.
Just move my family.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
problem.
Just for me.
Not a big deal. Just a couple of
Let's
years.
go ahead
kids.
and spend some money on a master's degree for me to continue to stay home.
Dude, get it in like something you can, like knitting. Go for knitting, and then you'll be
Perfect.
like the world's fastest knitter after your master's degree in it. It'll be like great, and you can turn it into a
Yeah.
job.
One of Purdue's most famous master's programs.
I'm sure.
Textile arts or something.
It'd be called something really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, how old were you, if you don't mind me asking? Okay,
I don't
so
know.
then you finished college.
Mhm.
You got what was the degree in?
They just called it wildlife there, which drove me nuts. It's a degree in wildlife. I thought that was
Really?
so
Not
dumb.
even like wildlife management
Wildlife.
or like
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. So I always call it wildlife ecology
Right.
or wildlife science.
What's bird like ornithology?
Ornithology? That's right. That was my specialty, and of course, and I got to TA the ornithology lab.
Oh,
A couple
cool.
years while I was there.
Did you do any like fun like field trips? Did
Yeah.
you go on field trips?
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're a little older than.
Right.
Did
right.
you get
Field
to-
trip sounds so like.
Did your teacher take you out to the woods and
We did.
show you birds? His
Right.
bird, her bird?
That's right.
Sorry,
So
Purdue.
that's great.
If you're
No,
listening.
we they have something called the summer practicum there, and it's a 6-week field training course up in the UP in Michigan.
Sweet.
So I got to do that, and I took another course that was a few weeks right after that summer. That was in the Pacific Northwest. And it was a really cool program that was collaborative between Purdue and NC State and a Swedish university. So I got to hang out with some Swedes for a summer.
Cool.
So really neat.
That is cool.
Yeah.
And let's see,
Well,
I
they
did an
like
undergraduate study as well, looking at effects of wind turbines on American golden plovers in Northwest Indiana. And that has kind of led into the work I do now.
Yeah,
Right.
because were
Final
you doing that
consultant.
here
Yep,
when they put,
exactly.
and that was probably like when I met you, like
10 years ago, because you met him probably shortly after I met
yeah,
him.
20 would have been like 2013ish,
Yeah.
and when they put those windmills
Yeah.
up,
Right.
yeah, or before or whatever, or maybe it was they were already up and you were like
Most of the work
studying.
I've been doing is pre-construction, pre-installment of turbines. So it's it's areas where
Making sure that it's not going to affect.
right. So yeah. So for instance, a wind energy company says, okay, I want to maybe put in some turbines here. They start talking to landowners, property owners, and seeing if there's a feasibility.
right.
And then they hire people like us who look at, okay, is this going to impact wetlands or endangered species or raptors, eagles? And that's what I would be doing, is these different kinds of bird surveys to see what's there and how it might impact them. And if they may decide, well, we won't build here at all, or we may adjust where we place the turbines.
Interesting. And
that
how
sort
do
of
you
thing.
like? So are you just like observing their flight patterns to see if like, because we have bald eagles
Mhm.
up
Oh, for
in
sure.
here.
Yep.
Like I was surprised.
That was what
Normally,
you were looking for, right?
Primarily.
When
Primarily.
I didn't even know. I just saw them like when I was leaving town, right out here on this end of town, and there
Yeah.
was two of them. Must be like a pair. They were like flying around, and there was some blackbirds or whatever pecking at them, and I was
Oh,
like, I want to be like, hey, you're messing with
Yep.
America right now. Leave them alone. But I was surprised because the windmills are like right there, and so. But I guess whatever. Birds probably avoid them ish.
Well, birds are active during the day, are often able to see the turbines and to avoid them. But sometimes if they're out at dawn or dusk, or if there's inclement weather or something, they might not notice them until it's too late.
Wow.
Raptors are a big one that they are concerned with hitting the turbines, but mostly it's birds that are migrating at night. So,
I didn't even know that was really a thing.
Yeah.
Weird.
Most long distance migrant birds migrate at night, and bats are the other one. So
Right.
Yeah.
so long distance migrant birds and bats. So there are things they can do to mitigate and prevent some of that.
Spacing
they
them
can
out.
well, where you place them is a big part of it. Not putting it right next to like a migratory corridor, like along a river. Or heavily forested stretch of land. As much as you can put them out in the middle of nowhere, basically, is the best option. And then you can put lights on them or sound deterrents, especially for the bats,
Yeah.
who are using echolocation.
Because they might not always be like spinning, but you can hear them when they're going like full black. Well, but I don't even know.
We can, but a bird
it's
or
more like
bat's
a
not going to
whooshing
clock
sound.
that. They're not going to understand. What's
coming.
going on.
It's coming around again. Get
So
through
it's
it.
too
Like
late, and they don't even have to. They don't even have to get hit by the blades. Another thing people don't realize is just the change, the sudden drop in pressure because of normal air, and then the air that's right near where those blades, and they're spinning way faster than you realize. They don't look like they're spinning that fast because they're so huge. But they're really, whatever it is, over 100 miles per hour or something.
the wind,
like that.
and when you get right up to it, I'm sure. Yeah.
So anyway, so they can just like get into that zone, and they can just drop like that. So
Right, that's crazy.
anyways, so
but I feel
not
like
to be,
we like
it gets pretty Debbie Downer quick if you get me talking too long about
But I'm just like super
certain
interested
nature
because we
things,
have
so
like a bazillion windmills
try to
around
keep
here.
this light.
Yeah, I know. Like, well, my next thing is I want to freaking talk to you about those burrowing owls that you guys got to go see in not
Florida.
Clearwater.
Well,
Where did we go for your birthday? Oh my God.
Are
Wedding.
you okay?
I didn't even take any
Fort
drugs
Myers.
today. Fort Myers. It's probably because I haven't ingested any recreational.
So this was this was several years ago, but with Flint and Eli.
Yeah,
so
just north of
2018.
Fort Myers in Cape Coral area.
Yeah.
So burrowing owls are tiny little owls
So
that use burrows primarily of prairie dogs.
Oh.
So they'll, it's a bit of mutualism in nature there, which is really cool. And so they're mostly in the west and southwestern U.S., but also in southern Florida. They've got a stronghold for now. They're just super cute. They're one of the only owls that are active during the day, so you can see them pretty easily as long as you know where you're going and where to look. And
I was like,
super cool. Anytime I go to Southern Florida, my trip isn't complete until I've seen some birds.
dude, I was so freaking jealous. You guys were like gearing up and stuff, and us girls are getting ready and everything. And I'm like, where are you guys going? Like, oh, we're gonna go see the owls. I'm like, what are we doing again today? It's fine. I'll go and not see the owls. I'll just have to make an excuse to go back down there. Cape Coral. I'll remember that because I really want to see. I'm gonna get into it. Like I feel like I said this on the podcast already, that when I was dog sitting, there was I think there's a sheet of paper that they had, the owners of the house wrote down. I think it was 25 different species that they had found.
Oh, nice.
And so I just would sit in the chair, and there's all kinds of feeders and stuff right outside. And I was I would try and identify just from the piece of paper. I'm oh, I'm pretty sure that's a little sparrow. And then, but then there was chickadees and all kinds of stuff. And I was I don't know. So I went and bought the Field Guide to Birds of North America by the National Wildlife Federation. And I freaking love this book. It's got all the pictures. Everything's in different categories, ducks and geese and swans, and also it's got 50 million pages in the beginning of parts of a bird, how to identify birds, and but the thing is I read all the beginning of the book and I was all right, I'm ready to go. And so then I would go, okay, there's a hummingbird out there, and then I would flip to a page, but it's so hard to look at a picture and then look at the bird and go okay, well, he's got a little red on right there, so I think, okay, no, it's not this one, but it looks like that one, but I think he's a little bigger. And I was holy shit, I'm not good at this.
Oh, no. Well, don't, it's not, depending on what you're looking at and where you're at, some birds are easy to identify and some are quite hard. Hummingbird's a good example of, there are several hummingbird species that look very similar, but that's why it's important to look at those range maps. Because
it's got
anywhere east of the Mississippi, 99.9% of the hummingbirds you're going to see are ruby-throated hummingbird.
Oh.
That's the only one that exists out here most of the time, except for a vagrant
look at
bird.
these all southwest.
So,
There's your ruby-throated one.
Go out west, southwest especially. And then,
but you have to be good at identifying birds, because that's also something that you do, is that you get hired by these companies to go to different countries and do bird tours.
That's right.
Which, what the F?
What's the best?
He's asked Flint to join him multiple times.
Keep
and
trying.
each time I say,
maybe Europe next year.
yeah. Maybe next year. It's always the cubby.
I do want him to go. I'm assuming you're still going.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. I'll be going to Peru next month.
Dude,
Machu Picchu.
No.
So Nate, just without telling us the experiences that you've had, because we can dive into those individually, but just so we have a general idea, where all have you gone?
Mostly it's been the Caribbean, Central South America, so what we would call the neotropics. But I have done a little bit in Europe, Southeast Asia, and Australasia. So I did 3 tours.
Australasia
in Australia.
Fiji.
Just Australia plus New Zealand plus nearby islands.
Yeah, sweet.
Which is so cool. So as soon as you graduated, did you get into that right away?
As soon as I graduated from Purdue, one of my first gigs was on Maui with Maui Forest Bird Recovery Project.
Wow.
That was awesome.
Sweet.
And then it was pretty shortly after that, I did a stint at a lodge in Ecuador called Tandayapa Bird Lodge and got connected with the people there. and worked with them for a while, and then a company called Tropical Birding, and then after that, so I did that for a few years, and I've done a couple trips for Indiana Audubon Society, and now I lead trips for a company called Natural Selections Tours.
Cool. National Audubon was always like my shit growing up. Like at the library, I would go religiously check out the National Audubon books, like literally all of them, and that's originally what I went in to buy when I was going to get a bird book. But this one was like it has different, like breeding adult, a juvenile, a non-breeding adult, and like female and male differences and stuff. Instead of like the National Audubon ones are like pictures and then like descriptions and stuff in like the latter half. And I was like, I'm not trying to really learn their lives. I just kind of want to like identify what I'm looking at, you know? Yeah. So it's a little easier to just like, and then you can go, oh, okay, I see. It's the American Pacific Coast permanent resident. Very good.
Boom.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite place that you've been to do bird stuff?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to choose. But they're usually if I have to give an answer, I say Australia, just because it's so different. Everything you see, and you see a lot of. It's easier to see a lot of the non-bird stuff too, like a lot of the reptiles and mammals. You can see they got all these. Well, yeah, dingoes. I have seen dingo, but platypus, echidna.
Yeah.
Pretty much every trip I went on, there was at least one occasion where I rescued an echidna from a road.
And they're little guys, aren't they? With
they're like a big football covered in spines.
Oh.
So you got to be a little careful.
And so a platypus is a mammal?
Correct.
But they have...
Those two that I just named are the monotremes. They're the only two egg-laying mammals in the world.
Just getting ready to say, I didn't know that. Yes.
Nice.
And it wasn't like the platypus something, like when they first saw it, everybody thought they were just making it up. Yeah. They were like, there's no freaking way that you saw this.
They thought it was a hoax. They thought the person had taken a duck bill and put it on.
They have a duck bill, and they look like a otter with that lays eggs. Yeah. Like, it's a freaking weird...
It looks like a mistake.
yeah. For sure. God had a Ash and Elm to drink before he did that one that day. He was like, whoops, accidentally. Well, fuck it. Let me make it lay eggs too.
Basically. And they've got they've got a spine down there that they can stab, like a venomous spine too, like behind their toe pads or whatever it is. Yeah, they're like,
I did not know that one.
Everything about them's crazy.
Sweet. Yeah. But that's not really a bird, I guess.
No, that's not a bird. That's correct.
Wait, so how many times
so back to birds.
Have you been to Australia?
But Australia's just awesome in general. I mean, my favorite bird in the world, the cassowary, is there too.
The dinosaur.
Basically a dinosaur.
Dude, I just saw a video on. I have heard of these, and I literally just saw a video of one the other day. And I'm like,
information on birds than what I thought.
I'm animal obsessed. I am literally like.
Everybody knows more about birds. Like when I start, people know that I know about birds. Like it's bird talk the rest of the night.
I can't help myself. Yeah. But cassowaries, they have like they look like a dinosaur. Okay. And they have this like claw on them, and they will murder your face off. Oh. And they're basically like emus, but if they lived 1 million years ago.
Oh wow.
I mean, I feel like. And are they gigantic?
They are large. They're not as big as an ostrich, but they're like, they're our height and pretty big around.
Will they fuck you up?
They can. Yeah, they do hold the title for most dangerous modern bird for sure. Because like you say, they got like that big velociraptor claw. They can like eviscerate you or give you some blunt force trauma.
They probably run real fast. Do they
super fast?
Fly?
They don't. They're flightless.
Right.
But they like an ostrich or a kiwi or something like that. But they but as long as you're not messing with their eggs or their babies, you're fine.
So you saw them in the wild.
That's right.
Oh man.
So do people? I should have fixed this mic and put it like this from the beginning because this sounds so much better.
Oh, good.
Okay, sorry.
Find the sweet spot.
But so when you are, I know. Now I'm annoyed.
We do this every time. We're like, oh, good thing we fixed everything 45 minutes in. Now it sounds good.
Are we 45 minutes in?
43.
Wow.
Time
know,
flies
it's
when
so
you're having
easy.
fun.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're talking about birds.
Ladies and gentlemen.
But so people just sign up for these tours, and then you just take them on a tour, and then like, is it your job to just point out, like, oh, hey, there's a
different
so-and-so.
Yeah, different guides and companies do it different ways. The way I'm doing it now with natural selections, I really like. I think it's the best experience for everybody, both the guides and the clients and the local communities.
Oh, yeah.
So our system is we have a very small company, so there's very little overhead, so we can keep our costs competitive. And so we give you the full experience. So you get the trip leader, which is me or my boss James, or we have a couple others. So you get like an international guide, somebody that's traveled the world and seen birds in all sorts of different places and lives. Most of our clients are from the U.S., but so you get somebody that can sort of connect what you're seeing with back home and other parts of the world, and just has like a well-rounded naturalist education and experience. And and I also serve some very specific roles, like I keep track of the bird checklists, like everything we see has been noted. That's part of one of the big parts of my job, and just making sure everybody's having a good time. Some of the logistical things, and then we always work with local guides, so you're getting local expert knowledge as well as this well-rounded knowledge, and then that local person can tell you also about the indigenous culture and some of the food you're trying and places you're going and that sort of thing. Depending on where we're going, they're bilingual and can speak the local language as well as English. And also that way where we ensure that we're not just coming to a whole bunch of gringos coming in and looking around and then leaving. Like, we're actually supporting the local economy by supporting local guides, and we stay at lodges that are owned and ran by local folks and communities.
I love that.
So it's like it's supporting local communities and conservation efforts, and that's a big part of it beyond just like seeing a whole bunch of cool shit.
Right, and it kind of sounds like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, like it kind of is like a if you know, you know. Like, you don't really, like, you guys aren't like a, I don't know, like the ducks at the Wisconsin Dells. Like, you're not just gonna like, basically what I'm thinking in my head is we went to the Land Between the Lakes just a couple weeks ago, and we went on a wild edible walk. Okay. And it was super fun. So this naturalist lady like took us around and showed us stuff. Yeah. And these idiots that were on the walk with us, like a copperhead, it wasn't very long, went right in front of us, and she had to be like, stay away from it and let it go, like, live its life. And this guy still had to get his camera 2 feet away from it to like take a picture. But that's like Land Between the Lakes, and that's a super like accessible thing. So I'm wondering if like people that you take on these tours are like morons, like whiteys, like, do they coming from like because it sounds like it's more like a intimate thing where if you really only want to go if you're actually trying to learn, rather than just like here's a thing that we can do.
We get a variety of participants, some that are pretty new to wildlife watching or birding or whatever, and then we get some that are like super hardcore and been doing it for years, so we get a range. But usually most people that go on our trips have at least a modicum of understanding about how to interact and observe nature, and not just go. You don't go running around. You don't yell while you're on the trail. These sorts of things. Yeah. You don't mess with the wildlife, and now on occasion, if we know it's a non-venomous snake or whatever, or a little frog, we might pick it up and show people. But for the most part, we you maintain a respectful
but isn't
wise
it funny
distance.
Like the story that you just told about the guy who like had to get a photo so close to it? It's like our society is so obsessed with not just like telling the story, but having evidence to like prove that they actually did it. And it's like,
was that necessary? Sometimes
I catch myself like, Lacey, just enjoy the moment. And like, I have never not like respected something, like been all up in its grill, but like just leave it alone. I don't know.
Also,
like, keep moving on.
On the same trip, so the copperhead, I mean, they're venomous. Like, that will F your life up. Like, and people are like, so what happens if you get bit? And the girl's like, the only reason she's like, the only reason you're going to get bit is if you, like, touch it, basically. Like, as long as you don't pick it up and mess with it, you'll probably be fine. Right. And then, so we were at I think it was called the Nature Center or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so they have a bunch of animals and stuff, like, outside, like wolves, owls, bobcat, etc., whatever, and we're standing there looking at these owls, and this, 5-foot long rat snake is just like curling its way around, and he's coming out onto the trail. And this family, the mom and dad and the kids all had these gigantic cameras around them. Like, the dad's was like 3 feet out, I swear to God. Yeah. And the kids just stood there and let the snake crawl over their feet so they could bend down and take a picture of it as it was going. Like, rat snakes aren't, it's probably nasty if it bites you. Like, they're probably bacteria filled or whatever. But, like, I'm just like, I don't know, you had ample time to just, like, take a couple steps back and get out of its way, but instead you're like, oh, cool, let me just stand here. And I was like, Patrick, let's go. I can't look at these people anymore. Like, I don't want to know what's going to happen if somebody decides to grab a hold of it or something, Like,
well, you see stories like that, sadly, popping up all the time. A lot of, people at Yellowstone taking a baby bison and putting it in the back of their van.
Oh my God, I just saw that. I was like,
yes. Tell me about it.
They went to jail. Yeah, a lady picked up a baby bison and tried to put it in her car. Yeah,
what happened? What happened?
I don't know. She probably got clobbered by a baby bison.
The Rangers,
Yeah, they're probably not far. Like, they probably rolled up on that. Like, yeah. Some dude was chasing brown bears in Yellowstone. Just elk. Nightmare. When we were,
it's like alarming how many idiots live in this country.
These people, a group of people were following a mama black bear and her cubs, like, over a fence and, like, through the woods in the Smoky Mountains at Cades Cove, where it's, like, the largest concentration of black bears within a square mile. Yeah. Yeah, we multiple times, Patrick and I have looked at each other like, let's just go. We'll read about this on the news later if it happens. Like, I don't want to be the guy that's like, and what did you see? And I'll be like, well, these idiots. I can't help myself.
Yes. Well, especially now with the cocaine bears.
Yes, watch out all the cocaine bears that are out there. Flint and I, did you watch that?
I haven't seen it yet, no.
Flint and I watched that movie, like, maybe a month ago. And it was
What'd you think? Top-notch cinema, right? Holy crap.
I heard the Revenant bear looked better.
Just a bit.
I definitely,
just slightly.
I definitely had some laughs throughout it, but Flint and I would keep looking at ourselves like, oh, we can't stop watching. But, like, why are we watching?
I think that's more or less what they were going for. Do we got time for one more?
Yeah.
More beverage?
Yeah, we have no time limit.
Are you getting close?
Yeah.
We can make a 2-hour episode if we want.
We did an hour 40 with Chad. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll pace myself.
I got 40 minutes before I got to leave to go to work.
This mic is just sucking balls.
Just cuss at it like you always do.
Guys, buy our merchandise so that we can buy new mics so that you're not listening to shit all day.
If your girlfriend needs a birthday present, we got a t-shirt for her.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. Also
I thought you were going to say you had some other kind of merch.
Butt plugs.
I gotta check out this merch store here.
But while we're doing this, the merchandise can be found on our Instagram. You'll be able to see it. Click the link in the bio. That is our website. Website is midwesthappyhour.squarespace.com. Go check it out. Buy a crew neck. Buy a t-shirt. Help the ladies out. And it's cute. And you'll look cute wearing it. Bye.
It's good to be cute.
Bye. Hi.
So which one are you going to wear? What are you guys going to have next?
I don't know.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. I have apricot honeysuckle. Like, they all look freaking good is the problem. They all seem amazing.
What do you guys have to have the apricot honeysuckle?
Okay.
That's the one I helped to make.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somewhat.
I'll do the landmark.
I'm almost done with this. I'm kind of being. What is that one?
It's a dry.
Oh, the other
That's
dry
like the
cider.
classic dry. It's like a champagne style.
Yeah.
Oh, I like champagne.
Yeah, you should do that one.
This sounds so echoey. I am about over this microphone.
It'll be okay.
I will do the
I have to talk
Applevine.
like this, so then it sounds okay.
Do you know any other languages? At this point?
Me?
Yeah.
I know a little bit of Spanish.
Crikey? You say when you go out to...
I have learned some Australian.
The dingo ate my baby.
That other language, Australian. Yeah. Well, here's a funny one. Is it's not just obviously they have a lot of overlap with the Brits with their slang, right?
Yeah.
But, one
Didn't
that I
know
did,
Wait.
so like there's and a Sheila
Yeah.
for a gal, but they also like what we would maybe say like a chick or a babe. We'll say a bird.
Oh,
That's a nice bird.
That's British and Australian.
So that's a good one that I actually don't use that much, but I probably should. Right?
Yeah, you would be the guy because
wanna...
British or whatever European convicts got exiled.
This is nice. I like this one.
Exiled to Australia, right?
Australians are a lot of the history of it.
Yeah.
It really is like champagne-y.
You like it?
Yeah. You want to try it?
So that's the one that we use when we make cider moses, which is that plus OJ. That's a nice little.
Yeah,
if you're doing a brunch or something. Yeah. You need to get
very
Flint.
light and refreshing.
Yes, it's light.
Yeah.
Like I like that it's light.
Yeah.
Get Flint back on here if you want to talk about history.
Oh my God,
he's
I know.
The historical expert.
Wait, why are we talking about history?
Because Australians and British people have a lot in common because they were convicts or whatever.
Ask him about all the wars. He'll know.
Colony.
He'll know that. He won't know.
Yes.
But obviously, lots of other folks have been there. Did it just get quiet? Oop.
It's dying.
Did it die?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Cool. Should we just unplug the...
We're out of batteries.
Yeah, I don't think we have any
Well,
other
one
batteries.
was basically still had some juice.
Oh my God. Okay, pause it or stop it. Whatever. I don't have anything laying around that's a...
Well, shit, everyone.
Well, shit. You're gonna get this audio now. We're just gonna have to fucking deal with
I'm sorry,
that.
Wes. It was like these ladies are so unprofessional.
No.
Now we can
It's
just
alright. These things
pretend.
happen.
We'll just sit there like...
Pretend. Well, maybe this audio is fucking better than this.
Are we back on?
Piece of shit.
Are we live?
Yeah.
Look at
We're
you.
live?
Why do you
Oh boy, here
always-
we go. We're back in.
Because I've been
with this.
messing with it because you didn't have the headphones on. It was very tingy.
Yeah, at the end there.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
even
that mic.
every time I talk, this mic just.
No.
Well, I sound good.
Yeah.
You
That's all
did.
that
That
matters.
mic is fantastic.
Yeah,
Thank
also,
you, Megan.
we're women and all the men sound better.
They do. 'cause their
Anyways.
voices are
Yeah.
deeper.
I also can't stand the sound of my own voice.
I think everyone
I
thinks that.
fucking hate it. I'm like, I don't sound like that at all.
Sure. Okay. So what were we talking about?
I was asking him if he knew any other languages.
Yes.
Well, and so we talked about Australian. But, I know a little bit of Spanish. I know especially if I get going after I've been there for a few days and
Super good.
I can get going a little bit. I can more or less convey what I'm trying to say and can understand.
It's definitely different. It doesn't taste like apple-y.
No, it's
At
very
all.
Floral,
yes, thank you.
hopefully.
Yeah,
I
it's
could
really
not
good.
think of the word floral.
I like that.
flowery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, me too. Locally harvested and dried honeysuckle
Full
flowers.
disclosure, I am not a cider person. I used to be back in the day when
Yeah, when you're drinking a bunch or what? Angry Orchard.
Angry Orchard, when you're
Red
new,
Apple
when
Ale.
you're new. that's what you drink.
Yeah.
But these are fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Agree.
So
Appreciate
good.
it.
I'm about to get addicted to something else that somebody fucking tells us about on the show. Great. Fucking yay.
Yeah, you got a good process going here.
Yes.
Bring
Yeah.
on all the right. Just be careful.
Shit that
Bring
we
on the
like.
show. Yeah.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm freaking. It's gonna be great.
Well, my
So
brother and Joseph, our cider maker, and his team there. They're all truly geniuses. So you start with good ingredients, and you
Get
just
good
don't
results.
fuck it up.
Right.
And you're gonna end with something good.
Yeah.
Stay competent. Drink the cider
That's right.
after it's done,
That's right.
not during the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
But any hoodles, so you know Spanish, and that
Un
helps.
poquito.
Yeah,
Un poco.
Do you know? But so birds are called
Pájaros, los pájaros.
right, but
Sí.
so are different bird species and stuff. Do you have you go to Ecuador or whatever,
Right.
and they might call it something different than what we call it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, there are Spanish names, and there are even local, dialects with different names for different kinds of birds. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. And I've learned some of those, but typically we use the English common name wherever we go.
So
But
then you know what you're talking
and
about.
there's also a Latin name, scientific names, and
Right.
which is one of the beauties of learning the Latin names and scientific names of whatever plants or animals you're talking about. Is you can go
Bless
anywhere in
you.
the world. That's
That's her regular sneeze, by the way. That wasn't like a holding it in for the podcast or anything. That was just like
You trained yourself well.
her sisters tortured her to death when she was a kid and were like, why do you sneeze like that? And now look at her go.
I don't know. Like, I
Very
can't let it go.
That's
People
good.
say, just
That's
let it
good.
go. I can't.
Probably pee your pants.
I was
Everything would come
squeezing
out all
my
at once.
legs shut. I was literally squeezing my legs shut right there when I was sneezing. Kids mess up everything down there.
Oh my god.
Let me just tell you one nice Spanish bird word.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
So one of my favorites is woodpeckers.
Mm-hmm.
They're called carpinteros.
Like little
Like
carpenters.
carpenters. Yeah, that's one of my
Fun.
favorite ones.
Yeah.
We had a woodpecker out back
Yeah.
a couple days ago.
Nice.
Nice.
I saw when he was out.
I've got one on my shirt.
Oh!
Segue.
Oh yeah, another brewing company.
Yeah. So I wore this shirt partially because of the bird, but also because I don't know if you can see here, Scratch Brewing, one of my favorite, probably my favorite brewery in the world. They're in Illinois. We're in Illinois now.
Oh, they are?
They're in Southern
It's
Illinois.
Ava.
So
Oh,
Ava,
nice.
Illinois. It's just west of
I wasn't looking that
Carbondale,
low.
SIU.
My shirt's brought to you by
Hey,
Chevrolet.
my eyes are up here. My eyes are up here. So, anyways, sorry.
Second
Scratch.
cider in. We're fucking.
Anyways, they make really awesome small batch beers, and they've got a really cool place. But most everything that they make is used primarily with ingredients that they've either grown or foraged on their property.
Sweet.
So
How
super
did you
neat.
hear about them? How did you find them?
That's a good question. I honestly don't recall if it was either from some beer connection or foraging connection. But in any case, I went once and I was hooked.
You didn't just get that shirt at Goodwill and you're fucking with us.
No, this has all been an elaborate lie. No, so I actually don't know anything about birds. I've never been outside the country.
You're just waiting for me to say something and you're like, yeah, I know. No, but speaking of foraging, so like birding must go into foraging. Like that must be pretty easy.
You can
because
do them
you're
at the same
going out.
time, which is not. Yeah, if it's slow, if you're not finding many mushrooms, and hopefully there's some birds you can look at. If there's not very many birds and it's kind of quiet out, then maybe you can find some cool stuff on the ground. That's one of the beauties of, like, I used to be like all just birds, like
Yeah.
all birds all the time, and like I didn't know almost anything about any other plants or fungi or whatever.
Yeah.
So as I've gotten a little more well-rounded, I guess, in my interests, it does, I think, make it easier to have a good time when you go out, no matter.
You're never like disappointed, like,
Yeah.
well, I wish I would have seen that bird today that
Yeah.
didn't do anything, and now you're like, but I
Yeah.
found a patch of morels or something.
Exactly.
Holy shit,
Right.
I would be like,
I just
yes.
watched a video where it's like if you don't cook mushrooms right, then they're deadly.
Can be, absolutely. Most wild mushrooms, when you're foraging them, need to be cooked. It's a couple rare exceptions, but almost all of them, you have to cook them.
Like
at high
there's the
temperature.
mushroom guy that was on Joe Rogan. There's a documentary out.
Sure.
Like,
Stamets.
Stamets, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been
Michael
famous in
Stamets,
that world.
Paul Stamets.
but maybe that was the clip I think that I read or saw where he's like on Joe Rogan and he was like,
Portobello,
I
I
can't
think
say
is what he's
anything.
talking
Yeah,
about.
it's like I can't say anything any further.
Legally.
And Joe Rogan's like,
Yeah.
wait, we're talking about mushrooms. And he's like, I am like scared for the safety of my life. I can't say anything.
Well,
And
he's,
Joe Rogan's like, okay, and we're moving on. But like there was something about like the way people cook or like the way people use them, like it's actually not good for society. I don't know.
well, you have, he's concerned about his liability. He doesn't want to
Right,
be
maybe.
construed as promoting eating certain mushrooms in a certain way, and then somebody has an adverse reaction or whatever, and then he's liable to get sued or whatever.
even, like,
So,
psilocybin.
it's just being, well,
You
yeah.
can't just be like, go out and eat these mushrooms.
Psychotropic ones as well as medicinal and edible ones, yeah.
Can you just find like the psychedelic mushrooms out in the wild?
Cow patties.
Yeah.
Is that really it?
It is.
I thought that was like just a joke.
No. I mean, you can
why?
grow them.
How? Why? Does
Well,
it do
I better
that?
not say this in fear for my life, but you can grow them in your closet.
Fear for my life. No, I get that, but is that why like some religions like hold the cow sacred because of this?
I don't
This
think.
like holy mushroom.
Well, when again, we gotta get Flint on.
I know Flint would probably have some like,
But
thoughts on it.
I don't think that's what that has to do with. I think it was just they had a really close relationship with it as a
Like a dog.
I don't know about that. I bet I'd eat my fucking
I
dog if I was hungry
I
enough.
wish I feel kind of stupid that I don't know. But in
No.
any case, no,
Here, let me ask
I
you
don't think
something.
it had to do with their psychedelic mushrooms. I don't
No,
think
I think the whole cow patty thing was like, I don't know. It's just the environment is
Yeah.
right for them to grow because it's moisture and it's out of the sun and
Under a tree. I don't know.
I mean, yeah,
Pick a
mushrooms
different
grow
spot.
under a tree.
There are tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of species of mushrooms out there in the world.
Flash your shit, bud.
So it's just,
Oh, you have a book
well,
on
so I
mushrooms.
brought two
I'm
books
eyeballing the
for
shit out of
you
it.
folks, for your listeners at home that don't have the visual. I'm holding up a book.
Morels.
I brought it because I thought we might end up talking about mushrooms, but also because we're in Illinois. So this is Edible Wild Mushrooms of Illinois. It's a really nice field guide / recipe guide for
Nice.
edible mushrooms in the Midwest. Joe McFarland and Gregory M. Mueller. So if you're somebody that like mostly wants to get into like foraging wild mushrooms in the Midwest, this is the book to get.
Sweet.
And then I don't know how we didn't hold this up earlier, but
shit.
here's one of my dad's field guides.
That's your
Get that on
paw?
there. Here's one.
Your
Yep.
paw?
It's called Wildflowers and Ferns of Indiana Forest, but really it's common forest plants of Indiana forests.
Sweet.
One of my dad's his first. I guess he did the Orchids of Indiana. Then he did this book. Then he did Wake Up Woods, which is a children's book. Co-authored that one.
I need it.
I
have
did I give it to
children.
you already? Did I give it? All right.
No.
I'm pretty sure I did. Well, maybe I'll have to get you another one.
Oh well, I guess.
I'm pretty
we
sure
could
I got one for Eli, but in
Oh,
any case,
well, okay.
It could be anywhere.
so I'll get you another one.
I'll scavenger.
That's really cool. Your dad wrote
Wildflowers
a
of
kid's book.
the Midwest, and then he's done a couple other things.
I'm super into wildflowers. I actually got, I have two little like fold out like brochure things. One is trees and the other one is wildflowers, and they're like specifically Illinois. But I just like it because I just keep it in my car.
When we lived at the old house, I bought this bag of wildflower seeds, and in the back left-hand corner, I just threw a bunch of the seed out, and it grew the most beautiful flowers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like all different colors, like it was gorgeous. Yeah.
Nice.
I only used like half the bag. I don't know where the bag went,
Damn.
but
Because you can go to like, I called the Department of Natural Resources of Illinois, and they are like in cahoots with a like tree or like flower company or whatever, and you can buy wildflower seeds by the pound that are like native to Illinois.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you absolutely did the right thing.
Yeah, because I want to. My dad has some property that like he wants to just like. We actually planted a bunch of wildflowers and sunflowers and like some privacy bushes. Really is what he's into. But I actually found like a guide or checklist kind of thing, I guess you could say. And if you get everything on the list, like native wildflowers, like water area for like
How much moisture
bees and stuff.
Yeah.
But like you can declare it like natural land.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, certified wildlife habitat.
Yes, there
Yeah,
you go. Yeah, and so I was I'm trying to like get shit together so maybe we can do that because I won't say anything about the town of Colfax, but leave my dad alone.
wait, what?
They give him shit all the time about his land, and so he goes like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna plant a bunch of bushes and shit so they can't even see what's going on in there." But I'm like,
Are they just mad like about like the state of the house or like
more like the shit in the yard or whatever. Basically,
Wait, what's in the yard?
it's one lady that walks her dog around and he takes a shit in the yard and pisses, and granted she picks it up, but then she goes to the town board meeting and she goes, "You know what's what's ugly is that there's a pile of brush in Todd's yard, and so then the town goes, it's a nuisance because there can be vermin in there, so you need to get rid of this.
Yeah, it's called wildlife.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck off.
And so my dad's getting like extremely pissed, and so I downloaded this like checklist where you have to have like a birdhouse, water source.
Brush piles are like one of the things,
dude. And so I like am trying to like gather information in order to like do all this stuff and then have it declared like national and then they can't say anything because it's certified wildlife land, so we don't have to mow anymore or whatever. It can
But
all
that's
just
where
be
he wants to
overgrown.
also have his little house.
It's half an acre of land. It's half a block. There's enough room for him to live and also have a jungle. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, like he would love that. like the wildflowers were
jungle might be
taller
a bit
than
of a
his.
stretch, but yes.
You know what I'm saying?
This is my Illinois Amazon rainforest.
Yeah, for real.
But yes, point well taken.
Yeah, so I'm trying to like get into it and plant a bunch of like native and
Nice.
yeah, even at my house, I'm trying to make my front yard bird friendly.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So on top of what you've already said, check in with your state for the folks at home.
DNR.
Check with your state DNRs or whatever. But in Indiana, there's Indiana Native Plant Society, and I think in Illinois there's something called Illinois Native Plant Society. Most states have something like this where they promote the use of native plants in your native landscaping and also protecting them in wild natural areas. And they're an extremely good resource. The Indiana Native Plant Society, most of what they recommend and have information about would probably apply to where you're at. Here in central Illinois, might double check on stuff, but check about Illinois Native Plant Society. I think that's a thing. But yeah, they're a super good resource.
Because I mean, like the DNR had a bunch of like resource or information for me for sure.
Yeah,
she went on and on and on. She's like, but if you want wildflower seed, you need to call this place. They're the ones that like sell it for us. And they were only doing it in the fall for some reason, but she did say if you plant it in the fall, it's a lot better because then the snow packs down on top of it and then nothing like blows away and then you don't have to water and then by spring everything like comes up and I'm like, yeah, if you get snow, which like doesn't happen very often around here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I know. This last winter was wild. I like got all the snow gear ready for the boys.
And
to never be used.
Hmm.
We never had to use it.
Right.
It was just
Pretty mild.
Yeah, really
mild.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it's sketchy. Oh, which I did want to ask you too, like climate change. I won't say global warming because I'll get like flagged on YouTube or something. But like,
The algorithm.
yeah. But like, since you've been doing this for 10 years,
over 10 years.
yeah.
Right?
I mean, like you've been paying attention,
Right.
But
Generally speaking, yeah.
so it's like climate change like done shit to where you're like, ooh, you don't like that.
For sure. And it's not one of my areas of expertise necessarily, but yeah, I mean, generally speaking, what I feel like I know the most about, and I think is the most maybe hopefully impactful perspective and statement is both plants and birds both. Doesn't matter where you're at on the political spectrum. Like there are right-wing gardeners and there are libertarian bird watchers, birders.
Right.
So they all they all exist and they all believe lots of different things when they're not looking at plants and birds. But they'll tell you, okay, yeah, I used to be able to plant this particular species in my yard, but now it doesn't do so well. They've got what they call these hardy zones or different hardiness zones. So yeah, I don't know as much about that, but basically, depending on what latitude you're at, there's like zone 1, zone 8, zone 9, whatever, blah blah. And so different plants they put in a different category depending on how well they grow at those latitudes. And those things are things that used to only grow in in southern Indiana, you can grow in northern Indiana or whatever. That is basically,
and that's universal.
And,
I mean,
and you're seeing that across the board, and so that's kind of indisputable. I feel like so even if you're somebody that says, well, I don't really trust getting my science or data from these people. Well, the plants are telling you what's going on, and it's the same thing with birds. There are species of birds that we didn't see very often or ever in central Indiana because they were further south than us, and now they're breeding and nesting in central Indiana.
Weird.
Or they're just things that maybe would only show up once every decade or whatever are showing up every year that are more southerly species. So
Cool.
It's to me, even in just the last 20 years, like it's indisputable that we're seeing things creeping further north overall. Like it's not always like bam in your face, like
for sure.
You're not, but it's
I
an aggregate.
am a true believer of, like, if you even look at our history, obviously I talk with Flint about this all the time, like just like history in general and like the world and the climate and how it's always evolved and how it's always changed and whatever. Like, yes, I believe that humans are not helping the progression of it.
Right.
Are you about to say?
But I also believe that it's just part of the world. Like
That's why the kids call it climate change.
Right, but that's why I think it's like a mixture of both. Like I'm not one side or like the other. Like I think it's both are just like happening.
Right.
But it's just so wild to like see it.
Also, we have destroyed 99.9% of our wild
well, the prairies
flower.
anyway.
Dude, I
prairies,
also said that like we are not helping.
It's us. Yeah.
Helping it. We are not helping.
I think it's us. I think we're cutting down the rainforest at an alarming rate. That's the reason it's
also
getting
that.
hotter around here.
It's about the pace, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Like
not,
we are speeding
things are going to
things
happen
up,
naturally
for sure. Yes.
all the time,
Yeah.
of course, but we are affecting the pace and the scale. Of
Right,
something.
and I guess that's what I meant. Like I know things happen naturally,
Sure.
but like also humans are not helping the situation.
Yeah. And we need to help the situation, humans. You people. Yeah,
Talking to
point.
you.
Everybody's pointing.
Yeah. Stop eating food. Stop wearing clothing. Stop using paper. Stop using any paper products, not just like the paper you're writing on. Stop using everything.
Install a bidet.
I'll start drinking until you end.
But no, there
All
are.
you can drink is water. That's it. Nothing
Nobody's
else.
saying that. Nobody's saying
And
that.
even then, get it from the sky.
But here's the thing. Is it yeah. I mean, you don't want to have to get to the point where you have to take extreme measures, right? Like,
right.
we don't want this to be like a situation where. Well, first thing is you got to give a shit about like the future.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
many people like they just don't. So like
Right.
boom, conversation's
Right.
over. Like,
A lot
do
of
you
people
care
see
about what
today,
happens after you
and
die?
that's it.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I guess
Yeah.
conversation's over.
Mhm.
So if you're somebody that is actually has some empathy and altruism and you care about the future of society and nature and the planet and everything, then maybe we can talk about like what are the steps to take? But
Right.
Right.
for a lot of people, it's hard to even just get to that point.
I know.
It is.
These fucking farmers.
We
I swear to God,
have-
I go facts like
Oh,
that.
come on.
They're problematic
Come
as
on
fuck.
now.
I'm
There's
telling
good
you.
farmers.
No, I know, but I'll go
They got
like,
their set issues.
don't you care that in 50 years, like your land is going to be no good and you're going to have to
Right.
give that to your kids and they
Right.
can't even grow corn and
Yeah.
beans on it because you
Right.
sucked all the nutrients and
Right,
everything out of it and you
right,
have to
right,
lay 50
right.
million pounds of fertilizer every year.
Right.
And they're like, I'm going to be dead. I go,
Ugh.
sweet.
You've literally had that conversation?
Every day.
Ugh.
Yeah. And I go, this is why I'm not having kids. And they go, oh, come on, Haley, what the fuck? And I'm like, no, come on, you
setting us up
guys.
for success.
Yeah, no,
what is
they don't-
happening?
They don't care what's going to happen to us. So I'm like, well, I don't care what happens to you then. Here's another bush light, buddy.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I got no
We're like,
silver lining to
yeah,
that.
it's the perfect because I'm killing them and they're killing me.
Honestly,
Or-
the underlying issue is like our government. Our government, like, basically told them if you plant corn and soybeans, that's going to be the most profitable
Sure.
because X, Y, and Z. When really, all that land just needs to be greenhouses and like gardens, and we'll be able to feed our like life
Yeah,
and not
there's-
eat everything that has corn in it. And
Yeah,
blah,
yeah.
We
blah,
don't need
blah.
ethanol and we don't need high fructose corn syrup.
We'll be okay.
Yep. The end.
We did it again. We got back to the doom and gloom.
Yes,
I told
we
you.
always
It always
have,
comes
like,
back
some
around.
point,
No,
like,
do you have a favorite bird? Do you have a favorite bird?
Well, I talked about the
The
cassowary.
Right, that was like
But
Australia is like
Wait,
we talked about burrowing owls.
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that not one of your favorites?
No, I love burrowing owls.
He's like, oh yeah, I went over there and bought them like whack-a-moles.
Oh, jeez. Well, that's basically what it would be like. No, usually what I say when people ask me, because I do get that question. What's your favorite bird? So I say globally the cassowary, and I tell them about the cassowary, and then I say locally it's the American woodcock, which is an actual name of a bird.
Let me get a picture. Let me get a photo.
Yeah, check it out. So I'll let you look it up, and then I'll let you describe what it looks like.
Okay.
But as you're doing that, so one of the things I love about them is they do these incredible aerial mating displays in the spring. I'll look right at the camera to the viewers while they're looking stuff up. So they do these amazing early spring aerial mating displays where the males fly up and they make these amazing twittering sounds and laser sounds with their wings. It's not even with their vocal cords or their mouths. And then they crash down into this little brushy area. And if you're lucky, you can kind of sneak up on them and get a good look at them. So
this is cool.
And they also do this really funny thing where they walk around on the ground. Go to YouTube.
They have really
you're already
long
on YouTube.
beaks. They
look up a woodcock dance.
Dude,
and
it's
I
a
promise
snipe.
you will not be disappointed.
It's adjacent to a snipe.
Yeah.
Okay,
correct.
American woodcock is such a
Closely
singular shorebird that has inspired a wealth of colloquial names, including timberdoodle, bog sucker, and night partridge. It nests in wet, mixed, and deciduous woodlands near open meadows and streams. In early spring, mix rise at dusk to perform aerial display flights. They fly in circles, produce twittering wing noises, and give comical call when alighting back on the meadow runway. Here, call a very short, very nasal.
Are you gonna try it? Let's hear it.
It's in there.
How do they? I've never seen how they have it here.
Say,
No, that's interesting that they call it that because literally every bird, you ask them what sound a woodcock makes, and they'll say ping, like Peent. So they nobody ever describes it like that.
Sounds like a bee.
But it says nasally.
Here, I'll play it for you. Watch.
A very short, very nasal.
All right, I'm gonna bring up my handy dandy bird app here.
Yes.
And I'll
What
play
app
it.
is this?
This is Sibley, but there are other bird guides. Merlin is a good one. I'll show you Merlin in a second.
Cool.
We don't have any like copyright, trademark, like people don't want us to mention.
Nobody
things.
watches
We're not that popular.
Anyways, I mean, we're giving them we're shout outs here. So Sibley bird guide, you can get the print ones, but the app one's really nice. Anyway, so it's got like a field guide here. There's the woodcock.
They're little
There it is there.
bunnies, too, like
I call them the
honkeroonies.
bulldogs of the bird world.
Yeah.
So here's that sound. You tell me what. See here, they got pink here. So here, see.
It doesn't, but it's like. It's
But it's
like
like
Is
a
it
little
bee
bee.
or pink?
It's
Yeah.
more of a bee, not a bee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the sound it makes on the ground.
Buzzer.
And then when it flies up, it makes this sound with its wings. That's with its wings. So it's like circling around and spiraling down, and it crashes down to the ground.
It's now my favorite bird. I love it.
They're just like
So fun.
so lovable and pitiful and charismatic. And I love them so much.
Growing up, we had lovebirds. We had two.
Oh, okay. I've never had a pet bird, by the way.
They were
People always
Doobie
ask
and
me that.
Movie.
No pet birds.
Doobie and Movie.
Doobie and Moobie?
Movie.
Woobie?
Yeah. Doobie and Movie.
Doobie Woobie?
They were lovers.
Doobie Woobie
They were
Doo?
a pair. They were boy-girl pair.
Somebody
Lovers.
was smoking weed in the house.
But we at our the farmhouse. So like we didn't also have like central air or anything like that. So like we would close off the living room area, which is a pretty big space, and that's where the birds were. So we would let them out, and they would just like fly all
bet they
over the
love that.
place all
Bet
the
they love
time. But then my dad, like we had a winter storm and it cracked open because we also had a door to the outside in the living room. It cracked it open.
Uh-oh.
Frozen bird for dinner, huh?
Only one. One survived for a little bit longer, but I think it was like brokenhearted.
Oh.
Because they're lovebirds
Yeah.
for a reason. Like they like need a companion, and then that one died.
Do you not have a pet bird because of like morality?
Well,
Because they should be outside.
yeah, I guess really. I mean, my parents didn't have one, and we never really even considered it.
I think
much
pet
growing up.
birds-
I got other pets, which
Yeah.
has its own, I guess.
Birds are like a
ethics to it,
wild thing to have in your house, I feel like. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. My friend has
It's supposed to be flying.
Right.
I mean,
my friend has it's not a finch. It's a little yellow, it's not a parakeet.
Oh, just
but not a
Anyways,
finch. They are
Jesus
6.5%. They sneak up on you.
Yeah.
You just think you're drinking juice.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but his name's Mr. Bird, and he seems
Mr.
like
Bird.
he lives his best life.
Canary,
Yes, he's a canary.
Yeah.
Yes, and
which is basically a finch.
Okay.
Okay.
He literally lives his best life, but my favorite is he has a view right outside the window, and there's bird feeders all out there.
Okay.
And so this hawk, I will be where I sit. The window's like to my right, to the back a little bit,
Yeah.
and she can see out the window, and she'll just go, and I just see a shadow. A hawk will just come down, and you'll just see feathers. Yeah, for real. I mean, it is like, and Mr. Bird, he will go absolutely still.
Yeah.
For like 5 minutes. He's just
Yeah.
like, whoa. And then nothing happens for a
Right.
while. And then boom, everybody like descends back on it or whatever. But that, yeah, freaking RIP those birds. Because those hawks, you can tell they're checking it out. They're like, ooh, she's feeding over there. Like, we might as well. But that, like, I don't know. And he doesn't really like get out. He's not like a super friendly bird or whatever. But he
Yeah.
tweets and he like lives his best life or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know about having birds, especially like craziness, like parrots that live for 100 years and stuff is like a wild thing to me to have something that's going to outlive you
Yeah.
in your house and be like,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, friend, I'm willing my bird to you that I get to live with for
Right.
50 years after I die.
Right, exactly. Yeah. We went out to Brendan's house
Mhm.
last weekend for his son's graduation.
Mm-hmm.
And Flint took Grant and Eli like off on a walk. And they live out in the country outside of Pontiac. And then Graham and I eventually followed like a while after they left. So like we couldn't really see them for a long period of time. But it's so beautiful out there. And then once we met up, they saw like multiple eagles, like bald eagles, and then a black eagle, or maybe it was brown, so maybe it was a baby eagle.
Probably
and
a
they
young
were like
bald
taking
eagle. Yeah.
photos, like they're just eagle nests in their backyard.
There's bald eagles everywhere around here now.
Yeah, the bald eagle is a conservation success story in North America.
Love it.
Mostly because of America, as we discussed. It was
America.
so they were quite rare, and they were on the federal endangered species list, and they aren't anymore because they recovered so well, because a lot of state and federal agencies did captive breeding programs and then did
Miller Park Zoo,
you know, protection.
I think. Yeah.
So now, for instance, in Indiana, we're talking maybe 50 years ago, it would be quite rare to even see a bald eagle, and there weren't any nesting in the state.
Yeah.
And now there are over 300 nests in the state.
That's amazing.
I remember
So-
watching on Ustream. Remember when you could watch bird nests on Ustream and you would see them, like people would be like, they're hatching today. And then you could go watch bald eagles like
We can
hatch.
still do that.
On Ustream? I know,
Well,
I
I
haven't
don't
been
know
on
about that, but,
Ustream
like-
or whatever, but yeah, I'm sure they still have
Yeah.
cameras up.
Yeah.
But there's a nest on
Online.
land that we know. You can see it. It's like the size of an SUV.
I heard that up in
Yeah, they're huge.
Alaska that bald eagles are like nuisance.
That's correct. Yeah, they're like gulls. Like
Yeah.
if you go to the
Yeah.
beach here and there's gulls trying to get your food and there's a whole bunch of
Yeah.
them. Yeah, there are places in Alaska where the bald eagles are like that.
Can't shoot them yet, though. Okay?
No.
Wait, when will that be
Are you
allowed?
shooting the gulls?
No, I'm just saying a nuisance. Oh, that's right. We don't shoot seagulls. I don't shoot any birds, for the record.
Uh-huh.
I'm honestly not quick enough. I've tried the clay pigeon. Like,
Oh, you tried.
I'm horrible. Yeah. Well, it's my dad made me.
Clay.
Thanks, Todd.
Under duress. Sure.
No, I couldn't if I could try, probably. Oh, but no, I didn't know that they're like a nuisance up there.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Come up and snatch your catch of the day or whatever.
Well, primarily the fishermen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
catch of the day.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree.
Oh my god. All right, should we let Flint back in the house?
We should allow him back in the house with the kids.
Can he come? Can he be here for the end of the episode?
You want to go call him?
He's right out back.
He's right there.
You mean go, caw!
Yeah,
Yeah, like
you go get Flint.
For the folks at home. Oh, I'm getting Flint?
Yeah, you're getting
I'm
Flint.
getting Flint. All right.
Step over.
I'll be right back. What?
No,
There's
you're
just
fine.
like
You're good.
a
You're
lot.
good.
Right?
Guys are behind us.
Tripwire over there.
Oh, yeah, I'm not going that way.
Grant almost really did it to himself.
I'll wait. I'll wait.
I'm sweating.
See it on me.
Yeah.
You're on the end of the episode here.
Yeah, Clint.
Say something about how funny and awesome.
It's great. It's great times. What's his name? Michael Homoya.
Ew.
Hire that guy. He'll mow your yard for you.
I'm not supposed to. It's against the rules.
Hi,
The
Clint.
rules.
Hi.
Hi, Grant.
Hi,
do you wanna come sit with us?
Yeah.
What's he doing?
Momentarily.
He's okay for a moment.
He's playing with it. Right here.
Did
Oh,
you
boy.
bend your knee, bud?
We're off to a good
They were
start.
screaming at you.
We're off to a
the
good
whole
start.
Look, we're on the
All right.
podcast.
Yeah, we're
Flint,
staying.
say hey to the pod.
Come over here,
time. Happy
Flint.
birthday, Wes.
It was my birthday
Yes, it was.
a few weeks ago.
Happy birthday a few weeks ago,
I
bud.
appreciate it.
You're
Flint.
39.
I'm 39 years young.
No
Yeah,
way.
That's right.
Nobody would have
Been friends for 20 years.
Yeah.
We talked about how we met and all that good
Oh, that's
stuff.
it.
At a
Yeah.
grocery
Yeah.
store, and it was not
Oh.
owned by Shrek's family. Just a random family.
Yeah. Well, they sold it, so. Who knows what?
He said R.I.P.
I did say R.I.P.
Yeah.
What do you got to say to the listeners at home? Well, what can you tell us about, very briefly, about the settlement of colonization of Australia?
Yes.
Australia.
Yeah, because he said Australia was like his favorite like bird spot, and so
Do you
I
have any
said,
history?
yeah, like that's where they in Australian and British people have like
Well,
dialect in common.
I'll say one thing, and then I have to go pee. But it was settled 70,000 years ago by the Aboriginal people.
Yes.
And
Of course.
they say that mankind was created there and not East Africa.
go.
Australia!
There's a debate.
Okay.
Hi,
There you
Bubs.
have it.
Hi, Bubba-roni.
All right.
What are you doing?
Well, thank you for being on.
Thanks, Wes.
We got all the
so
grounds
much
on.
fun.
Very good.
Yes.
Cheers to you all. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for having me. May I say, you guys are doing a wonderful job. I love your podcast.
Thank you.
Hey.
Folks at home, buy merch.
Yes.
Dude,
Like
Tell
I
your
said.
friends.
go buy our merchandise. It's just a t-shirt and a sweatshirt.
Would
Say
it
buy
kill
our
ya?
merch.
Buy more
Yes. Sweet. Thank you.
Awesome.
Go check out your local birds. Get hooked up with your local Audubon Society or Native Plant Society. Just get out there. It doesn't. You don't have to do it.
Follow
but
Wes. He
give
posts
back.
some really cool stuff.
Yeah. You can
Wesley
check me out
Homoya.
on the Facebooks. Wesley Homoya.
Is your full name Wesley?
Full name's Wesley.
But now you want to be called Wes.
I've always gone by Wes. Now.
That was the conversation we had with the other Wes.
We called
Oh,
him.
okay.
Yeah, he's like, you guys call me Wes. Other people call me Wesley.
Pretty much gone by Wes since I can remember. But
Okay, cool.
Natural Selections Tours.
I love that.
Check it
I
out.
will catch you in Australia probably,
Hell yeah.
dude. Do you have a trip planned coming up?
Next month is Peru, and then
Oh.
I'll be at the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival in August.
Oh.
September, I'll be in Guyana on a tour.
Where's that?
That's
Northern.
South America.
It's South America. It's the northern part of South America. It's the only English-speaking country in South America. It's a very interesting area.
Are you gonna
And
tour?
then grasslands? No, we're not going to Jonestown. We always get that question. No Jonestown. Although I do think I'm going to try it on my own before or after the tour to check it out, just where it's at. Because there's nothing there. There's not like a museum or anything. But anyways, and then November, Guatemala, and Cuba in December.
If you see a lady named Claritza in Guatemala, tell her I said hello.
I will. I'm sure that will happen. But yeah, if you want to come, it's a hell of a time. We'd love to have you.
Reach out to him. We'll hook you up.
I'm into it. I'm telling Patrick right now.
How
Hey, how do you feel about
have
Guyana?
do you have a way? Oh, do you have a way that you end your shows? Is there?
We
like
just
a,
always
just
say
a hard,
cheers. We just do a cheers.
We're cheersing?
And that's
Salud.
Yeah.
Salud.
Salud.
There we go. All right. Yeah. Much love.